And we're back
Again.
in different clothes, as per requested. Oh my gosh, I was like, what is that red button? But it was just the recording.
You're cool.
Okay.
Did you sleep last night?
No, clearly not.
Oh God, what's wrong with you?
Okay, so our next topic's going to be, I guess you can say it's going to be controversial. Unsure of how people are going to react to it because there's going to be a lot of different opinions. But what we're going to talk about is what money does in a relationship. So,
What part does money play in a relationship?
if you knew it, why didn't you just jump in then?
I like watching you struggle.
What part money plays in a relationship? So we were speaking about this before, and it's saying it's really interesting because, especially with this whole feminism coming up, women empowerment, wanting to be equal as men, yes, absolutely. But then it's sort of flipped as a different story when you actually enter a relationship and the female expects the male to provide or to pay for a lot of the stuff and to hold the weight. Which I just find very interesting because it's sort of double standards in a way.
So I think firstly there are a lot of females that won't think that. So we're not saying that that's that is what it is, and I think more and more are starting to probably think that way. So let's not get some horrible comments saying you two are full of shit.
Nathan.
No, well, this is all just
More
opinions,
comments.
right?
Two people probably watch this, mum and dad.
And some cousins. If we go based on the fact that, like you said, let's use that as a bit of a starting point. I think it brings a lot of expectation to men, right? So traditionally, it's always been the man's responsibility to provide for the family, and often that comes through a financial platform mechanism. And there are many females out there that enjoy that, and I see that through a lot of friends and connections that a lot of females enjoy that, being looked after, and you've got your love languages, and some females really like that whole the gift aspect, the giving, and a lot of men just play on that too, and away they go, but find that often it's not really building a true connection. It's building a connection based on material possessions that fade, and then what's the next thing, and what's the next thing, and what's the next thing, because it's not real. It's not really true to their essence. It's just something that'll just give them a bit of a high, and then they go on to the next one. So it brings a lot of pressure for men, because then men are like, well, I've got to not compete, but to keep up with my friends and these friends are doing this. I've got to do that. I've got to do that, and just keep putting more pressure on it. And I think it comes back to money is a beautiful thing, and it helps us get through life. But when that's our kind of sole focus in a relationship, I think it can become quite empty, because you lose the other aspects of what a real connection is with someone.
And I find it very interesting because, like you said, a lot of females, including myself, I love gifts. Also love giving back though. Want that or expect that because it's sort of been painted through different generations and everything, or we see it in movies and we see it in TV series and stuff like that. So we start to feel accustomed to it and like it needs to happen. But then it's interesting because like a lot of females like, no, it's all about women empowerment. We need to be equals with the male. But then as soon as the male comes in, we just expect for the male to pay for everything, to pay for going out, pay for drinks, pay for maybe the rent or more for the rent, groceries, all that stuff. So I find it interesting because then it puts a lot more pressure on a male, because it's like we just expect them to do this. Just because they've done it for generations, it's like we just expect it, but yet things do start to change.
There's a double standard.
Yeah, similar to our last one.
It's a double standard. I think it's going to work if there's balance, and that's with everything in a relationship. It's got to be balance between what each other does, and the whole money thing's just...
But then it also comes back to a lot of men find that intimidating. If a girl earns more money than him, he finds that bloody intimidating.
Yeah, I agree.
Or he feels like the way to show his power or his masculine side is to provide for his female. So then it goes back to, but hang on a second, a lot of other guys won't actually take that, or they'll feel it's offensive if a female tries to pay for it.
Yeah, often. But then on the flip side, some guys, a lot of guys will just be like, I respect and I do that. I think a guy that's going to feel uncomfortable with that is someone that's not really strong in themselves. someone that's built their life around kind of, this is what I do, and who I am is because I can give gifts and I can do that. But I think they're probably missing a little bit internally. I think the whole like old school, open doors and pay for a dinner. I think there's a lot of beauty in that, and I think if it's done by way of care,
Opening doors.
Yeah, if it's done through an act of honest care and compassion, I think it's beautiful. It's when it's done by an egotistic aspect, like it's like, yeah, I'm the boss, and well, then I think that probably changed a little bit of how that's derived. But a lot of females embrace it too, right? So you can't just blame the male. Like, there's two people to play in all this, right? So if they're both ignorant, well, you can't do too much about it. And really the whole concept of money is how much do we need, why are we wanting it, what's the true essence of it? Because a lot of times it is for stature and show, and that's why we strive to do it, and because we want to keep up with those around us and friendship circles and so forth. But if you can sort of remove a lot of that, I think it changes the dynamics of any relationship. I've seen a lot that have been based on the fact that she gets her handbags and she gets this and she gets bought this and holidays overseas and all this type of stuff, which is fine. No judgmental at all. But, there's always this emptiness of what's next, I want more and more and more. It's human nature. Whereas other relationships I've seen that, really don't have too much at all, have enough to survive and are comfortable in that, but are happy, they really blossom. Like, there's some pretty special stuff that happen there where you accept what you've got and you work together as a couple relationship to keep going on as a team. Yeah, that's right.
It's really interesting because then we were talking about this the other day, money, and trying to be, when you buy something, trying to like go internally and just be like, do I really want that? Like, where's that coming from? And we were talking about it, it's like you try to stay as honest with yourself as you can be, and you're like, do I really want this, or is this to be a bit more egocentric, or am I trying to show off to people? Like, where is it actually coming from? And it can be hard when you've just come from, like, when you go into your job setting and you're surrounded by all that, you're surrounded by money, power, hunger, to then flip it and then go back to your life and to not sort of bring that in. Because I understand money does provide some people happiness, not all the time, but like, it gives you the comfort to buy things when you want without stressing about it if you are financially stable, sort of thing. But then also it can then take you to the next step where you start buying all this stuff just for the sake of it, and then it starts to be showy, and then it starts to be egocentric, and you're just like, yep, I want it, I can buy it, that's it, everyone else can see me like that I'm that type of person, let's keep going. And it's just this cycle, but it can be really hard to detach yourself from that, to then come back to hang on a second, what do I need? What are the necessities? What's actually going to bring me happiness?
Yeah, because we get caught up in that cycle of society that we kind of live in. And I'll admit, I'm one of them. Like, I'll get caught up in a cycle of wanting to buy all this.
Jackets, shoes.
That's pretty cool though.
Don't want to know what jacket you brought.
And I'll get caught up in it. But I think for me, it's more about the freedom to be able to do that. So it's been able to go, what, if I like something, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy it. Now, for whatever real reason that is there a little bit of ego? Maybe, but it's more for me, it's that freedom that if I really like something, I've got the opportunity to go and do it. And I think if you can get to that point in your life and your work and everything can help you support that, well, how good's that? I think it's it's quite wonderful.
It's quite powerful too.
Yeah, it is, because you become freedom, and that's I think one of the best things that money does bring is that financial freedom to kind of do what you want, when you want, how you want. And I'm not saying you need money to be able to do that at all, right? But one of the biggest things that we see is that people are so worried about money, and it's really from more a primal security perspective, because often money is perceived as bringing security, and it does in some respect. Like, don't get me wrong, like a house, your living expenses, your food, water, cars, like all that shit needs money, right? So I think being able to get to a point where you're happy with what you've got, I think that's real power.
And comfortable. And it's just, I guess, becoming aware of when you start to change because of those around you. And if you don't like that person, when you start to become aware, you can then start to actually take action to maybe turn it back around and to get yourself back in the driver's seat and to take charge of your own actions and to maybe steer the other direction.
Like, and if we bring it back to where relationship and money and which is where we started, Lauren, we got a bit sidetracked like usual. And this is
Organic.
Organic, all right. And this is just again just being open about everything with me, and I can only give you a perception of my life, and maybe that might sink in with someone and so forth. However, often, like, let's say you're going on a date with someone and so forth, right? Often me, and this might just be the way I've been brought up, is like I will offer to pay for dinner, right? And I'll do that out of a place of care, right? It's not out of a place of trying to be a wanker, going, yeah, here's $100 bills and let's party kind of thing. It's bullshit. And I think, that's just who we are, and that's just how we've been brought up. And people have been brought up all differently. However, it is nice sometimes when the family goes, no, I'll get it. You're like, no, don't be silly, it's fine. Even though they've probably got no intention of getting it, it's still nice to see, right? Like, what really pisses me off is when you sort of go out with women and you're like, I'll get this, and they're like, okay.
They expect it.
Like, it's just, it's expected. Like, it's not like, oh, thank you so much, are you sure, right? It's just like, oh, I expect it. And there are a lot of people out there that are like that. They're just like, oh, well, that's what happens. I go out for dinner every night with this guy and just pays for everything. Like, fuck that. Like, it's got to be equal. Right, and like almost like have an argument with me about paying. Like I'll win the argument, I'll pay because I'm a stubborn wog. But I think over maybe second, third day, well then it's all right. I think for men, it's allowing it's been able to release that expectation. You know what? I'll let you pay for dinner. It doesn't make me feel any worse because often it can be like this macho thing. I've got to pay like da da da. Like release that shit and share it. No worries if you want to pay the second time of dinner. You pay the second time of dinner. Let's pick a more expensive restaurant. No, but. I think it comes back to what we keep saying is this balance thing. So, it's just balance between the two and just allowing each other to sort of share and offer that opportunity to be able to contribute.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it as equal, as opposed to the males need to do everything, because then it goes back to the double standards and to the other conversations we've had. If you want the power and you want to be able to, be equal with men, you've got to be equal in all aspects in life, not just, your work life, but also your social life and your financial life. Like all different aspects of your life, it needs to be equal. It can't just be equal in one because then it's double standards, isn't it?
Well, it won't continue through. Like you got to continue that mindset throughout all aspects of your life. Otherwise, it's only piecemeal, and it'll never be fully resolved.
Well, there you go. So interesting conversation. Let us know what you think, because I know I have a lot of friends who think both sides. Like one group, or not one group, but one part of my friendships groups are, they believe that the male should always pay and that they should always do this and that they should have that financial stability and the female not as much. Whereas I've got another group of friends who are like, no, I'm my own female, I'm my own person, I'm independent. If a guy's going to pay for me, no, he doesn't need to. He can't buy his way into my life. Because that's another key point. I think a lot of females get their backs up as well when guys try to pay for everything, because it's like, well, do you think that you can just buy your way to me?
But then it comes back to communication. Right? Have that conversation. This is what breaks down so many relationships, is that communication, because you start thinking, females start thinking all this shit and they're buying me this and that. Have the conversation. I don't like how that feels because of this, this, and this. And I know men don't typically understand emotions too well, but I'm sure if you have that discussion and put that point of view in, I think a logical person would. And if they don't understand it, well, see you later. Ciao. See you later.
All right. Well, there goes today's topic. Interesting. So let us know what you think, though, if you want to. Mum, Dad, can you just comment on this to make us feel a bit better? Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
But, you're going to hit it today. Oh.
You do it.
No, you go.
No.
You go.
I'm offering.
Well, now I'm insisting.
No, I'm offering.
Oh my gosh. I will take the lead. Bye.
Like always.